So now I'm gonna have to put config T. Now we're gonna start IP route. So what network do we need to reach? That is the 10.0.0.0. What is the subnet mask of that 10.0.0.0? It is 255.255.255.0. How do you want to reach this network? I want to use my next router's IP address. So a router can reach a destination, a remote network, either using two options. Okay. Option one, it can use exit interface name or next hop IP address. Now these are the two options. So now using exit interface or using next hop IP address, the difference here is that when you use exit interface, you do not go with the trouble of recursive lookup. You do not have to worry about this. If you're dealing with exit interface, you do not have problem of recursive lookup. If you're going with next hop IP address, you have this problem of recursive lookup. The recursive lookup here means that the router will check its routing table more than once before it can be able to forward the packet. How does it do this? The router will have to know whether the destination IP is existing on its routing table, one, and then it will have to say, how do I reach this network? I use an IP address. Okay, if I'm using next hop, if I'm using next hop, it will have to check the destination network. Okay, it will have to say whether the destination network is there or not. Okay, next thing is it will have to say whether or not. Let me push this thing here. I think I'm gonna have to do this. Okay, or let me push this one right there for you people to see. Now it's gonna say that whether that IP, the destination, the next hop IP address exists. So it's gonna check for this network and then check for this network. That is if you use the next hop IP address. But if you use exit interface, it will only check for this, and then it knows that it's gonna use the name of this interface, which is serial 000. So that is what the exit interface is. So I'm gonna use the next hop IP address instead of next hop. So sorry, instead of exit 209.165.200.2, because that is the IP address that is configured on this router's interface right here. That is what I configured here, 200.2. So I have to put that. And the other network here also is 10 IP route. So I can just use my up arrow, make some modifications here. You can see that. So I'm just going to remove this 0 and put a 1. You do not need to be typing all of this. So now I have routes to these networks already. So how do I verify this? I'm going to have to put save this, and now use again show IP, sorry about that, show IP route command. Look at that. When I use the show IP route command, this is what I see: static 10.0.0 network. I have the administrative distance 1 and a hop count or a metric of 0 via this IP address. So I can reach these networks now because my router tells me that I know about these networks, but I know about them through that IP, through the device with this IP address. So that is router 2's IP to its exit interface. So we have to do a similar thing here on router 2. We have to tell router 2 also how to reach 192.168.0.0 and 1.0.1. So I'm going to do this. Go back to global mode. IP route. The network 192.168.0.0. How do I the subnet map with the subnet max of 255.255.0? How do I reach it? I'm going to use 209 192.165.200.1, because that is the IP address. Okay, that is the IP address that is been configured right here on this router's interface. So that's what we have to always remember. Okay, so we are right there. So I'm going to put enter. Now the next network is 1.0, so I'm going to use this up arrow just to come right here, the left arrow, remove this one, and I come here. Now the left arrow brings me, so you cannot use your mouse to click, otherwise it will not work. So if you see that, even if I do this, it's not going to work. So I'm just going to press enter. That does not mean that I am here. So restart. So now let's see if this router also knows about this network. So we use OIP route command. Oh, good. I have route to all these networks. You can see here I have route to 192.168. So via using this, so I am good to go. Everything is good. So now this PC can now be able to ping that network that address that it was not able to ping, the one that was telling this PC that you have a destination unreachable. You see, it's working. And look at this. I have a decrement of 1, simply because the route passed through router 2. So it has now been it's been through 1 hop. So the number of hops along the way would decrement this value. So it's very important that you know this, because it's good for your exam. And then you can see that we can reach that network, but this is the IP address, the default gateway of the routes, the PCs, or network C, I can say. So let's ping the PC on network C that's using 2. We'll have 1 packet drop or 2, I don't know, because of the switch behavior. Alright, so the switch behavior does this. So we have also a decrement of 1 here, because it was supposed to be 127. So guys, I hope you get those things. We have 1 packet loss because of the switch behavior, and I hope this is clear. So this is one thing that you guys have to do, and I hope you guys understand it. So it will be something as an assignment. I want to make sure that I want to see that all of you guys have done something like this, configure using just something like this, very similar. The same address is just configure yours and make sure that everything is pinging, have it sent to me, and then I'll make cross-examination. No passwords, nothing. Okay. Alright guys, so I see you in my next video tomorrow, or maybe next tomorrow, maybe if this is a difficult thing for you guys. So bye bye. Thank you for being there for all of us. Thank